we learned from the previous lesson about levels of organization, and we learned that all organisms are made up of cells. We also learned from the first week of this quarter that the cells can be seen by the use of a microscope. What are the parts of the cell? What are their functions? Why is the cell the basic and structural unit of all organisms? Let us find out in this module. Robert Hooke coined the term cell. Hooke used the microscope to look at dead cells. He prepared a thin section of a cork for viewing. What he saw was the remaining cell wall. He compared it to the monastery cells. According to the cell theory, all living organisms are composed of cells. The cell is the basic unit of life, and cells arise from pre-existing cells. These are formulated by German scientists Theodor Schwann, Matthias Leiden, and Rudolf Virchow. The cell theory developed with the advent of technology. In the modern version, it includes the following. Energy flow occurs within cells. Heredity information is passed on from cell to cell, and all cells have the same basic chemical composition. Cells have organelle. The word organelle, meaning little organs, is used to describe these tiny cellular structures. The nucleus is the part of the cell that can be observed easily. It is the control center of the cell, also labeled as the brain. This is where the DNA is located. Deoxyribonucleic acid, or DNA, exists in all living things and has the ability to make exact copies of itself. It comprises the chromosomes, making it the bearer of genetic information of an organism. The nucleolus is where the subunit of ribosomes are produced. The ribosome is the one that synthesizes protein. The cytoplasm is where all the organelles are embedded. It is a jelly-like substance that surrounds the organelles of the cell. The covering of our cell is the plasma membrane. It is the skin that encloses the cell parts from the outside environment. It allows the entry of the material inside the cell. It is also where waste exit. Mitochondrion is where cellular respiration takes place. The product of cellular respiration process is cellular energy. This cellular energy is used by other parts of the cell. The popular tagline of mitochondrion is the powerhouse of the cell. The endoplasmic reticulum serves as the synthesizer, sorter, and transporter of materials such as protein and lipids. It is categorized into two, the rough and the smooth. Rough endoplasmic reticulum contains ribosomes, and its main function is to synthesize and transport proteins and other materials throughout the cell. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum, on the other hand, does not contain ribosomes, and it is the one that synthesizes lipids, carbohydrates, and steroids. Remember that the ribosomes are the one that produce protein. If there is a production of proteins, the Golgi bodies are the one that process and pack the proteins. Lysosomes, the digestion machine of the cell. When the cell absorbs material from the outside, the lysosome will cling to it and start to break it down by releasing their enzymes. The complex sugar, carbohydrates, and other big molecules will become simple molecules that can be used by the cell. Lysosome also break down unwanted materials like bacteria and old organelles. The vacuole in plants is larger than in animals, taking up almost all the space in a plant cell. It makes the plant cell rigid. In animal cells, the vacuoles are small and are called vesicles. It stores water and food and also has the task of excretion of waste materials. The general parts of the cell are given to you, but some parts are particular to a plant cell and an animal cell. What are these parts? The plant cell has a cell wall and chloroplast. Cell wall is the outer lining beside the plasma membrane. The chlorophyll in in the chloroplast absorb light energy and convert it into chemical energy and allows plant to carry out the process of photosynthesis. Animal cells have centriole. Its function is connected to cell reproduction. Take a look at the illustration of animal and plant cells. Take note the parts and function of the organelles as well as their similarities and differences. That's it! I hope you learned a lot from today's session. Thank you so much for tuning in.